Welcome to the first episode of the Commanders Brew Stew. I, your host, Angry Octopus, will show you one of my decks, and I'll show you the tech and how it works, and what the goals are. And at the end of the episode, I'll look at the comments, and I'll fix up the deck, and show you the progress later. So, the commander is Niv-Mizzet Parum. He costs 3 blue and 3 red, and he can't be countered, and he has flying. Whenever I draw a card, he deals 1 damage to any target. And whenever a player casts an instant or sorcery, I draw a card. So, in this deck, we have 3 infinite combo win conditions, which are Curiosity, Ophidian Eye, and Tandem Lookout. They all similarly read, whenever this creature deals damage, draw a card. Which means, whenever we draw, we deal damage, and whenever we deal damage, we draw a card. So, the main goal of the deck is to use our ramp pieces to get up to casting Niv-Mizzet, and we use counter spells along the way. So this deck has 22 counter spells in it, and the goal is to ramp to our commander and then ramp for more counters, and then we go for the combo. Niv-Mizzet can protect itself with its own ability. When someone tries to remove it with an instant or sorcery, we draw a card which could draw us into a counterspell. So our land package has all these dual colored lands, some tech lands that help us, and we have all these red and blue lands. We have a few draw spells in our deck that include Wheel of Fortune, Molten Psyche, and Pull from Tomorrow, and Blue Sun Zenith. Our goal is to draw into as many cards as possible to kill our opponents with our ability, and to get into more counter spells and more ramp. We have pieces that protect our commander, like Spellskite and Lightning Greaves. And there's also another combo in the deck that includes Mind Over Matter, which allows us to choose and discard a card, tap or untap target artifact, creature, or land. This allows us to draw our entire deck with Temple Bell, or Azami. So, I'd like to talk about some new cards I'd like to add into the deck. I have Dizzy Spell, which doesn't really do anything for our deck in particular, but it has Transmute, which allows us to tutor for our win conditions, such as Curiosity. Next, I'd like to talk about Drift of Phantasms, which also has Transmute. It lets us look for our last 2 win conditions, Tandem Lookout and Ophidian Eye. There are some other cards I'd like to add into the deck that are just good and help with the countering, such as Tail's End, which is a cheap counter spell that counters abilities or legendary spells, which is very useful when people use things that we can't normally counter. Next is Narset's Reversal. It allows us to copy target instant or sorcery spell and then return the original spell back to its owner's hand, and then we make a copy. This card is good because it can steal the win from our opponents. Next card is Chaos Warp. This card is just good removal overall. Next card I'd like to talk about is Merfolk Trickster. It stops our opponent's creatures from activating their abilities, which could be detrimental to our plan. One more creature I'd like to add to the deck is Kozilek. He allows me to discard him into our graveyard to recycle it to continue our combo if we run out of cards. So, how did you guys like my deck tech on Niv-Mizzet? Please like and subscribe and leave comments. I will be reading them and taking them into consideration to modify the deck. Commanders Brew Stew is about taking user comments and improving the deck, so I'll leave a deck list down below so you could look through it and see what you'd take out. This deck isn't supposed to be extremely competitive, but it is supposed to be 1v1. So I'd like to keep it in that area. Thank you so much for listening to my video, and I'd like to do this again. See you in the future.